Hi everyone, my name's Joanna and I teach yoga and mindfulness to children. I'm here with Marcel from Barcelona United's 09 team. His coach is Coach Ryan, and we are going to share today some yoga for foot health, so for foot and ankle health. So I just wanted to share a few facts with you, some foot facts with you to start with. Because it's really important for you as athletes to take care of your body and especially your feet and your ankles as soccer players. So we're going to start with sharing about our foot has 26 bones, 33 joints and more than 100 muscles, tendons and ligaments, and these are all intricately connected. So it's so important to take care of your feet because you have all of these parts working together, and if you injure any part of them, it's going to affect the rest of your foot and ankle. And I wanted to let you know that our foot it's a very sensitive part of our body, and it gives the brain a lot of information about the kind of surface that you're walking on. So when we have bare feet, our foot, the sensors in our feet give the brain all the information that it needs to know how to navigate the surface that you're walking on. So when we're wearing shoes, this kind of dulls down that sense, and what can happen is that other joints in our body, like our ankles, our knees, our hips and our spine, even our shoulders, start to compensate for what the feet are telling us. So they can become stiff and tense, the other parts of our body. So we want to really treat our feet well, and that will help to look after the other joints in our body. So what yoga can do when we look after our feet and our ankles, what it can do for our body, it provides us with a stable foundation for us to become faster, more powerful, have more agile movements, improve our balance, and also our fine motor control. And it encourages this full range of motion that we can have in our feet and ankles if we look after them and if we exercise them, and it helps limit the risk of injury. So by doing these exercises, it can alleviate soreness in our feet and ankles. I said it improves our balance, and when we have really good balance, that means that we have really good core strength. So it helps to develop our balance, gives us greater dexterity, so the movements become a wider range of movements, and it gives us better body control and coordination, which is really important with soccer players. It increases our endurance. So 90 minutes out there one day, we need to be able to do that. So yoga really helps us build our endurance, gives us healthier joints, and like I said before, it improves our power and our speed. And there are a lot of many professional soccer players and soccer clubs, and the countries, soccer teams for each country, they use yoga as part of their regime all of the time. So there's a very famous soccer player called Ryan Giggs, and he kind of championed yoga for soccer players maybe 25 years ago. Lionel Messi has his own personal yoga teacher, and he incorporates that into his everyday training and practice. So we're going to get started, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find a wall. We're going to lay down with your butt really close to the wall, and you're going to put your your legs up the wall. So Marcel, if you turn around, lay down, put your feet up the wall, and Marcel's going to demonstrate. Well, we both will. So I'm going to come over here, and we're going to put our feet up the wall a little bit, and we're going to start. So when we take the weight off of our feet and ankles, it takes the pressure off, and we get to make the movements without any weight there, causing it to be stressful in any way. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by pointing and flexing the feet. So just point like you're reaching your toes towards the wall, and flex like you're reaching your toes towards your nose. So pointing and flexing, like that. Now we're going to windscreen wiper our feet. So left to right, and in yoga, slow movements help us to develop our muscles in a really strong way. So we don't need to move really quickly. We can take our time. Great. So now we're going to take our feet away from the wall, and we're just going to pretend that there's like a pencil on the end of each of our big toes, and we're going to draw some tiny circles. So tiny circles one way, and then tiny circles the other way. And then we're going to do larger circles. So take your ankles in one direction, rotating in one direction, and then turn them back the other way. And you might hear some clicking. You might find that one ankle feels a little tighter than the other, but it's okay. You can observe all these things, and as you practice, you might see it change. Okay, so we're going to bring our heels back to the wall. You can widen your legs a little bit, and then we're going to bring our toes in towards each other and out. And in and out. In and out. In and out. Okay, great. Now we're going to come away from the wall, come back over to the camera so that we can talk about the next yoga pose. So the next thing we're going to do is come into mountain pose. So that looks like we're just standing up, but it's a really powerful pose. So hopefully we can both get into the camera here.
Yeah, if we
Come back. Here we are. Okay, good. So mountain pose, you're going to take your feet hip width apart, and you're going to make sure your toes are tracking forward. So you're not pointing your toes out to the sides or pointing your toes towards each other. We're going to try and get them nice and straight, hip width apart. You can bring your knuckles, your fists together, check the distance, so your fists should fit nice and snugly in between your feet. And then come up. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to spread our toes on the floor and try and get a space between each toe. And then we're going to raise our shoulders up to our ears and roll them back so that it opens up our chest. Because when we have an open chest, our lungs get all the space in which to take the biggest breaths, and that powers our whole body, sends more oxygen around the body and into the bloodstream. Great, so here I want you just to feel your feet, something maybe that we never ever think about, just feeling our feet touching the floor. Feel all corners of your feet, feel all the toes on the floor, and notice the parts of the feet that don't touch the ground. Alright, so now we're just going to come up onto tiptoes, so lift the heels. You'll feel, you might wobble, that's okay. You're going to feel your calves engage, and then come down. We're going to lift the toes now, so come onto your heels. Then lift the heels, and come onto your, come on to your heels and lift the toes. So we're going to go heels, toes. So lift your heels, lift your toes. You'll feel your core engage. Your thighs are going to engage. Buttocks, everything. Heels lift, toes lift. Heels lift, and toes lift. Okay, great. So from here, we are going to come into a tree pose. So this is a real strengthening pose for our ankles and feet. So bring one foot really flat onto the ground. You can bend your knee slightly. We're going to lift the other toes, the other heel up, and bring the toes to the ground. And then you can find a place. You can either keep your toes on the ground and bring your heel to your lifted heel to your heel on your standing leg. And this is like a mini tree pose. Or you can try and get a bit more balance involved. So you can bring your foot to below your knee, or you can help your foot up and bring it to above your knee. So this is all about what we're doing with our mind. When our mind is calm, we tend to balance more. So if we panic, we're going to wobble and fall. But we may wobble and fall anyway, and it's okay, because it teaches us how to just get back up and have another try. So breathing, really important. We don't want to hold our breath. We want to just take a deep breath, keep breathing, and if you wobble, just put your toe down and come back up again. Sorry, Marcel. And then we'll try again with the opposite side. So you might want to do the mini tree just to get the feel of it. The lower tree. And then use your hand to bring your foot up. And if you've got a partner, that's quite stabilizing because you can help each other. But feel your foot on the ground, feel your ankle becoming nice and strong, and breathe. And you might want to challenge yourself by bringing your arms up like a tree. Yeah, like the branches of a tree. Or you might want to come up on your toes and lift your heel. I haven't done that for a while. Whoa. And then another challenge would be to close your eyes, because it definitely changes your balance. Okay, great. So we've come from mountain pose to tree pose, and now we are going to come and sit down. And this one is called butterfly pose. So I'm going to just come a little bit closer. No, maybe I need to go further away so you can see my body. Okay, so we're going to bring our feet, the soles of your feet together, and you're just going to take one foot at a time, and you're going to give your foot a bit of a massage. So get to know your feet. I'm going to squeeze each toe one at a time, give it a pull and a squeeze. Get in, press the fleshy part of your foot around the ball of your big toe and all the way across. And then you might feel a little bit sensitive or maybe even some pain when you press hard, but you can just investigate and feel what it feels like. And then give your heel a squeeze, maybe squeeze your toes over, bend them over, slap the bottom of your foot, so you're activating all the energy. And remember, our feet are really sensitive and they send messages to our brain. There's something called reflexology that relates every part of your foot to another part of the body. So it's thought that the big toe represents your head. So if you were to have a headache, you could get in and give your big toe a massage. So yeah, it's really cool. You can find out, you can Google and find out about reflexology. So come to the other foot. We're going to do the same thing. So you might want to cross your ankle across your leg and just give each toe a squeeze. Bend your toes back and forward. Give the bottom of your foot, the soles of your feet a slap. Great. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do, which is kind of looks a little bit odd, you are going to try and interlace your toes between one another. So just like we do with our fingers, we're going to try this with our toes. So one toe between each toe. Going to look weird and it's going to feel weird, but it's stretching our toes and activating the blood flow and the energy.
Can you do it?
So I can do it. And then another way of doing that, so you can do that for a little while and see how it feels, or we can take one foot at a time. You're going to interlace a finger between each toe. And that can feel really uncomfortable, but it's really good for you. So if you're feeling a bit tired and you want to feel energized, do something like this, because it brings a lot of energy. So you're going to point your toes one way and bring them back the other. Point and bring them forward. And then from here, you can give your ankle a rotation.
Hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does hurt a little bit. Okay, and then we'll try it on the other side. So give it a try. All of these things are bringing a lot of blood flow to your toes and your feet. So you can go forward and backwards with your toes here. And give your ankles, rotate your ankles. Good. And then just give your feet a tap on the floor. Scrunch your toes and spread them. Great. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is come into, this is called staff pose. So our legs are going to be long and out in front. What you're going to do is try and close the soles of your feet together. So you're going to try and bring the bottoms of your feet to touch. So just like your hands can come to touch, we're going to try and touch the bottom of our feet with straight legs. So if you can't do it, it's no big deal. It's just the range of motion in your ankles. So just turn them towards each other. And then turn them away from each other. So that's pretty tricky. With straight legs, turn them towards each other and turn them away from each other. Good. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come into our little tiptoe pedestal balance. So come onto your toes. You might want to keep your fingers down, or you can bring your hands in front of you like this. So you're on your tiptoes. And what we're going to do is drop our knees forwards, and our toes are tucked. No ball is in the way. Our toes are tucked behind. So your toes are tucked, and you're going to walk your knees back towards your toes. So the more you walk your knees back towards your toes, the bigger the stretch you get in your toes. So, and you might feel discomfort here, but just breathe it out. If anything hurts, you come out of it. If it just feels a little uncomfortable, you can stay there and breathe. So, take a couple of deep breaths in this position.
If you get your foot off the ground, you can feel it more. Like put that off the ground a little.
Okay, yeah, or you can bring your you can have a play with it actually. Good point, Marcel. So you can bring your toes forward or move them back a bit. See what feels good to you. See what feels like a good stretch. Okay. So from here, we're going to come into a child's pose. So that one is where our knees are on the floor. We sit back with our heels underneath our butt, and you're going to bring your forehead to the ground. So if your ankles are tight, this might be a little uncomfortable for you. So you can use your hands to support you. But if not, you can come here and take a deep breath. And then from here, we're going to come into what's called downward facing dog. So your hands, fingers are spread really wide on the floor. And you're just going to lift your hips up to the sky, and you're going to reach
Your heels to the ground.
your heels towards the ground. And you're going to let your head hang loose. So this is downward dog. Noble's coming. He likes downward dog. I'm just checking out in front. Okay, so from here, I'm going to turn my foot over and bend my toes backwards.
Keeping your legs straight.
Yeah, you can see my foot from here, so good. So keep your legs straight, keep your hips up in the air, and you can turn one toe, 1 foot worth of toes over, and then change over and try. So we're bending the toes in the opposite direction. So downward dog is bending them one way, and then we can flip the toes over the other way. If you want to, this is a challenge, you can turn both sets of toes and then come into downward dog.
That's what I'll try.
And breathe. Good, and again, if anything hurts, you come out. So we're going to come back down, take your knees wide, bring your toes together, and come into a child's pose. You can stretch your arms out ahead of you for this one. And bring your forehead to the floor. And breathe in, and breathe out. Okay, next one. This is called hero's pose. Now, you can bring a cushion or something behind you. And we're going to bring our knees together to start with and take our feet wide behind us. So feet are out to the side, and you've got something behind you. Now you're going to come and sit onto that thing that's behind you.
Try to get your.
Let me move back a bit so that maybe people can see my feet a bit better. There we go. So I'm going to come and sit down, and my feet are behind me. They're not out to the side like that. They are tucked beside. They're running alongside this cushion that I'm sitting on. So this is an upright position, an upright hero's pose. So I can sit like this. If I don't need the support behind me, I can take it away. I'm just going to sit my butt down in between my feet on the ground, keeping my feet the way they are. Now this might bring sensation into your knees and your ankles. So if it does, just bring yourself back up onto your cushion. A full hero's pose would be to come onto the floor, lean back, come onto your elbows, and then lean back all the way down to lay on your back. I'm not doing that. My thigh muscles, my quads are too tight. But that's okay. It's something to work towards, and it really will happen if you practice. That's it. So Marcel's gone down a little bit low, but you can. This opens up the front of the ankle. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is sit onto our feet. So our feet are tucked, our heels are tucked underneath. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift one knee and place it down, lift the other knee and place it down. Lift the other knee and place it down, and the other knee. So this is opening up, stretching the front of your ankle. Really, really good. So good for soccer players. You really need that range of motion in your feet and ankles. Yeah, so you use your hands behind you to support you, then we're going to try and do both. So lift your knees, bring them down.
Should you lift your body on your hands?
And bring out. So use your hands to help, lift your knees. Good, and bring them down. Stretch your knees and bring them down. You can come and have a rest in child's pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. Now, we are going to try a little bit more of a challenging thing now. We're going to come into a squat, which is this one. And you might want to come to flat feet, which is a little bit more challenging.
You might want to put the pillow up behind
And we're going to...
so you can fold them up.
Yeah. So we're going to come down. We're going to drop back to a seat. Oops. We're going to drop back to sit down. And then bring our knees to one side. And then come back to squat. So you can use your hands to help you back up. And then drop down. And drop your knees to the other side. So this is... helping us with our ankle strength. Whoa, try not to use your hands, and rotation. So sit down and drop to the side, come back up to center. Whoa.
I can kind of do it.
And then sit to the other side. And then if we want to challenge ourselves even further, whoa, we come up to stand, come down to sit, drop to one side. Whoa. And if you have like a tighter hip on one side or the other, it will inhibit you being able to like stand up without help. So you can keep trying. So that is our foot and ankle care for soccer players. I'll think of some other yoga videos that I can do to support you guys while you're doing your technique training and your Zoom training with Barca. Now you get to do the final yoga pose, which is to come and lay back down onto your back into like a starfish shape. Your palms are facing the sky, your dog is walking around you, and you open your legs, so arms and legs like a starfish, and then you just close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and rest. So this yoga video will be on my YouTube channel, and that is Explore Me a Story, Children's Yoga and Mindfulness. So you can subscribe to that to do, if you want to remember the exercises in this video. And yeah, just remember, your foot health is going to support the rest of your physical health in your body.
And remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
So thanks everyone, and we'll catch you soon.